What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to MemeGC. So we are back today with a really interesting team featuring Electivire. Now, Electivire is a mon that really isn't all that great, to be honest with you. I mean, its stats are pretty bad. It's HP 75, base 67 defense, 85 special defense, not that great. Base 95 speed, it's a little slow, and 123 attack really isn't all that impressive. It's decent, but it's just lacking a little bit in every stat. But it's a great design. It has an amazing design, and so I think we should take advantage of that and use it for sure. So today, this is a team by Poke Sports. If you haven't checked out his channel before, of course, all of those links will be down in the description below, as well as a Poke Paste for this team and all that good stuff. So yeah, the rental code will also be at the very end of the video, just like always. And before we get into the breakdown, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We had a great time last week with Bear Week. We had a live stream where we were shiny hunting Wooloo. We had a lot of bear themed videos. It was really fun. And so of course, if you have suggestions, make sure to leave those in the comments below for me. I would love to know what you would like to see in the future on MemeGC or in Wi-Fi battles. So Wi-Fi Wednesday, we'll have another Wi-Fi battle for you. I think you'll really enjoy that one as well. So again, make sure to share the videos and click the bell once you subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos. So Electivire, right? 123 attack isn't terrible, I guess. It's just not great. It's outclassed by a lot of different things. And so that's where this thing can get a little lackluster. However, when partnered with the right things, it actually has the ability to actually put in a little bit of work. So the first thing we're going to look at is Motor Drive, and Motor Drive is this thing's better ability, and so it raises your speed if you're hit with an electric attack, which is really cool, especially if you're running it with an electric type Pokemon with Discharge, aka Tapu Koko. And so this comes in here to click Discharge. We also then would have the ability to paralyze our opponents, making them much slower than Electivire after that. But at +1, an Adamant Electivire outspeeds almost anything that we need to outspeed, barring Scarfers and like Regieleki. It can outspeed pretty much everything else, which is really cool. After +2, we will outspeed a Regieleki. So that's a pretty cool thing. I think it's a really cool mon with that. Ice Punch, of course, for the Landorus, which we have on our team as well. Earthquake, which one thing that's really interesting is that this Tapu Koko, of course, is faster than things like Cinderace and other things that are really fast in the tier. You can get that Discharge off first, and then Electivire will then go next if you end up outspeeding them after that. So that is the advantage of real-time speed mechanics that came to Sword and Shield, and that's what it kind of allows this thing to really shine a little bit more. We have the Dusclops and Glastrier core here with Rock Tomb. This is pretty cool. This also can be used to actually slow down our Electivire if we want that in Trick Room, if we think that would work better. But typically we're going to use it on our Glastrier to set up our own weakness policy. So that's one thing that's really awesome. Very standard Glastrier here. Nothing too crazy about it. And then we've got a Scarfed Landorus, which is really cool. Definitely a Dynamax option if we're not going to go with Electivire. Definitely gives us that flexibility, so we can get the Fly to set up the speed. Earthquake, Rock Slide, and U-Turn are all really good options. U-Turn, of course, being a really good option so that we can cycle the Intimidate somewhat safely since we're Scarfed. So that's one thing to consider. And then, of course, Tapu Fini, it's on pretty much every team, but it kind of deserves that spot because it's just that good. Tapu Fini is absolutely fantastic, and so I really like this set in particular. We've used this set before on the channel, and so we're going to show it off one more time. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the battles. Match number 1 of today, and it's actually featuring a Magmortar, which is pretty cool. So seeing the partner there to the Electivire, so that's really awesome to see. We've got a Torkoal to set up the Sun, which is also very scary. Yeah, that can definitely raise this thing's danger level for sure. What do we want to do about this though? Because we've got the ability to, this thing could have Volt Absorb, couldn't it? Or no, that's the other version. But you do have Gastrodon, which is a little scary. Is Evire the play here? I think we're going to go with Evire here. I think that's going to be our lead. We definitely need something to deal with the Gastro, though. And is it going to be the Dusclops Glastrier combo? His team's pretty slow as is, but I think Dusclops Glastrier really is a good core for the rest of his team, especially in dealing with the Gastrodon. Gastrodon is a little tough for this team for sure. Its typing's really good, and we don't have any grass type moves as far as I know on this team. I don't think we do. Yeah, there's no grass type moves, so we have to be careful. Finny obviously couldn't click Muddy Water as long as that thing is around. So we have Magmortar and Thundurus. All right, so probably going for like a max Airstream here. That is my assumption, is that we'll get a max Airstream here. But Magmortar is definitely pretty scary. It's a pretty interesting mod for sure. But I'm assuming Thundurus just goes for max Airstream. That's most likely what's going to happen here. So honestly, I kind of want to knock that out and leave Magmortar alone. So let's actually go for the Discharge and Ice Punch, well, max Hailstorm into the Thundurus. I'm assuming that we will outspeed I'm assuming that we will outspeed a Thundurus at if we're at +1. I'm gonna go for that. So we actually go ahead and max, and my opponent doesn't actually max here, which is interesting. Because Electivire should be the slowest thing on the field here, I would assume. I don't know. Yeah, no Dynamax at all. Interesting. So we're going to go ahead and activate our Motor Drive here, making ourselves a little bit faster, and then dealing damage to the opponents. That's good damage on Thundurus. And we're going to go ahead and knock that out. My opponent's just going to let me take the Thundurus out, which I'm totally fine with that. So no speed control or anything like that on my opponent's end. We seem to be in control, at least for right now. So what do you want to go for? Goes for Scorching Sands, actually. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a cool new tech. Please don't... Well, it doesn't matter, because we're going to knock ourselves out with Hail. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is bad. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we'll go into Dusclops. We'll save Glastrier for later. And yes, Glastrier could have been a Dynamax option, but I don't want that out against Magmortar, because it can probably take a hit from something later. Alright, Gastrodon does come out here, which is a little scary. We're going to see Life Orb and Lefties. Nothing too crazy there. Now, we can take a KO on Magmortar here. Or we could just go ahead and try to chunk the... We could also try to chunk the Gastrodon, which I also don't think is necessarily a bad idea. Because I really don't think that we're all that threatened by it right now, but Glastrier in the back is going to be a problem. Magmortar is going to be a problem for that. So I think we go ahead and knock this out, and I want to Nightshade the Gastrodon. I want to go ahead and get some damage off on that. Oh, actually it withdraws. And brings in Torkoal. Okay. That should be fine. I don't think I have an issue with that turn. Because we're not Trick Rooming this turn. There's no reason for me to Trick Room here when I'm the fastest thing on the field. And my opponent's going to allow me to take out Magmortar too, so... Okay, so 2 quick KOs here. I'm definitely not Trick Rooming as long as that's alive. So I think now what we do is just try to take out the Torkoal, at least do a bunch of damage to it, and then consider Trick Room. But for now, I don't think the Trick Room is the play. So I think my opponent may have brought that in expecting Trick Room, but it's not the right play right now. So you probably max the Torkoal here, right? I'm assuming that's what you do. So yeah, we're just gonna Pain Split the Gastrodon and we'll Max Quake into the Torkoal. This gets some damage off either way. And so this should be fine. This should be fine, I would think. Even if you were to max guard here for either of them, actually going for the Gastrodon, which is a little scary. But it's also about to be a 3v1, probably a 2v1 after you knock out Electivire. Torkoal does protect, but we will go through the protect and hit at least a little bit and get another special defense boost. So we will be at +2, which is definitely good. That does very little damage, but that's expected. It was into protect, so you know that's okay. But we are going to raise our special defense again. I highly doubt that's going to save us. Yeah, actually, we took that really well. I don't think we take another one, but we took that really well, actually, which is quite fantastic. I'm glad I targeted into the Gastrodon, though, at least to get a little bit of damage. Not much, but a little bit. And we already knew that it was lefties, so no surprise there. We don't know what item the Torkoal is, so a little bit of a mystery there. And this game's definitely not over, just because the Glastrier in the back really doesn't appreciate the Torkoal. And I would really rather not KO my own Dusclops, or at least do a bunch of damage to my own Dusclops. So what do I do here? I could Pain Split, but I'm still at full here. I think I double into Torkoal here. The other play would have been to Wild Charge and go ahead and Trick Room, just in preparation for the Glastrier to come in, which I think is probably was a better play, just to go ahead and Trick Room on this turn. Yeah, that would have been a little better, but that's okay. It is raising its special defense, which really doesn't matter at all because, you know, Glastrier. So that's totally fine. We're just doing a little bit of damage to this thing. Lefties are annoying, but that's fine. I think we're just going to protect and Trick Room this next turn, and we should be fine. This thing doesn't really have enough offensive prowess to be able to knock us out. And honestly, I think that Dusclops could 1v1 this even without Glastrier's help. But we're definitely going to take advantage of it while we can. So we're going to protect here and go ahead and set up the Trick Room. And you can kind of do whatever you want on this turn, but I really don't think that there's a way for this thing to 1v4 the team, or 1v3 rather. So it is going to Max Quake, and it's going to go into the Glastrier as expected. It's going to do very little damage. Also, as expected, raises special defense again. Again, we really don't mind that at all, and we're gonna get the Trick Room off because last year is gonna be much slower than this, and so is Dusclops. So now you're going to shrink, and we should be able to clean this up here in 2 or 3 turns. But yeah, really cool first game. I'm pretty happy with this first game. I liked it. It's cool seeing that this thing has a couple different modes like that, and I think we brought the best things that we could have brought, so I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with this. We'll go ahead and activate our weakness policy here to hopefully, well, I mean, if nothing else, we activated our weakness policy. It's not that big of a deal if you protect there. So I'm good with that protect. That's totally fine. We can just go after this thing next turn. So yeah, we hit into the protect, but no big deal, no big deal. We'll just do it next turn. Sunlight fades, so your Scalds are doing a little bit more now, and you get a little bit of lefties back, but ultimately, with both of us attacking you and with Pain Split and all that, I really don't see an end game where my opponent wins this with a Gastrodon. So I think we played this really well. I think this went really, really well. There we go. So Gastrodon is out of here. And that was great. Great first game. I love that. That was awesome. So I hope you guys enjoyed that first game. And yeah, looks like we'll do 2 more today. I'm really happy with that one. Glastrier ended up doing work there. Glastrier is a really cool option just because it doesn't have to be the Dynamax option in order to work, but it definitely likes it. But in this case, we always want to max Electivire, right? It's Electivire. And we have to be careful with using Max Quake, with using Earthquake over Max Quake, just because, you know, Earthquake. There's going to be very few situations where we're going to want to click that, especially taking our own Tapu Koko down to Sash. But I mean, you know, if the opportunity presents itself, maybe we will. We'll just have to see. So let's go ahead and jump into game 2. Game number 2, and we've got a lot of very standard things. This is very, very hyper standard things. Now, one thing I want to make sure of is that we can outspeed. Can we outspeed Dragapult if we're at +1? Okay, we outspeed if it's modest, and we outspeed if it's timid. So we can actually outspeed that, and we do have the Ice Punch on this set. And Dynamaxed, it would KO here. Actually, it would Dynamax without Dynamax, wouldn't it? There's a chance, 43% chance to OHKO. Electivire looks really good. Electivire looks really good in this game, so I'm bringing it. As far as in the back goes, Lando seems really nice here, actually, just because a lot of these are probably physical. I mean, pretty much guaranteed physical. So I think we bring Finny and Lando. I think we leave Dusclops Glastrier in the back, even though Dusclops Glastrier also looks good. I mean, everything, literally all 6 of my mons look good in this game. So, but we're gonna bring this. The other alternative was to just not bring the Electivire core, but this is the Electivire episode, and so we got to bring the Electivire core, right? The only thing I'm a little worried about is the Intimidates. Those could be a little annoying from the opposing Incineroar, so we do need to watch out for that. Rillaboom Porygon 2 is the lead, actually. I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm all right with that. Now we are going to lose our terrain here, which is not the best. And there's a possibility of this setting Trick Room. There is a possibility of Trick Room here. But that also seems a little strange on this team. Got the attack boost, which is good for us. Yeah, Trick Room is good for the Lapras, so I mean, it's definitely not unheard of. We also have Finny, though. Finny is going to be crucial, in my opinion. I definitely want to get rid of the Rillaboom here, although how much of a threat is... Rillaboom's really good against our Finny, so we really need to remove that piece in order for Finny to do well. I think I need to discharge here. If you go for the Grassy Glide, then you know you'll go first and you'll hit me. But if you're gonna go for high horsepower to hit super effectively, you're gonna go second. And so by that time I'm gonna have my speed boost. So I think this is fine. I think Rillaboom goes down unless it protects. And if it doesn't click Grassy Glide, I don't think it's gonna do anything outside of protecting. It actually fakes out the Electivire, which is absolutely perfect. That is exactly what we want to see, because Evire Dynamaxed. Perfect. Do we get any paralysis? No, that's okay. We really don't need it, especially against a Porygon 2, and we're knocking out the Rillaboom this turn. Yeah, it's gone. Goodbye. So removing that is huge for our Tapu Fini in the late game, which I think Tapu Fini is going to be a big proponent of the late game in this game. I think it's going to be huge. So what do we see? We do see the Trick Room. All right. That does make Electivire the slowest thing on the field, which is a little scary. So this seems to suggest that we may see something like T-Tar come out here. And if that's the case, we could be in for some trouble. But Landorus in the back is definitely something that can help. So what do you go into here? What do you go into? I'm not really particularly threatened, at least offensively, by the Porygon 2, but this team really doesn't have a whole lot as far as knocking it out in one hit or two hits, so that's a little scary. So it gets rid of my Hail, sets up the Sand. So if you want to knock out Coco, you're gonna hit into you're going to hit into the Sash, but the Sand, so that's not great either. Dazzling Gleam isn't gonna do very much. Yeah, and then we've got EQ on everything else. So EQ is gonna hit the partner, which is not great. I'm honestly considering max Quaking here. At the same time though, it's gonna activate a weakness policy and then switching this out into Lando. I think this is the play. I mean, you probably go for Evire here, I'm assuming, but you are now at -1, which is definitely really good. We do see the max of the T-Tar, makes a whole lot of sense to me. And so yeah, this is a little scary. This is definitely a little scary, but I think if we can get rid of T-Tar, we should be alright for the rest of the game, especially with Finny. Finny is definitely the brain. It was definitely the Mon that we needed. So yeah, Trick Room, it could have been nice to have Glastrier here. Glastrier could have done a lot of work. You actually carry the Ice Beam, and you went for it on Coco. Nice. Cool. Okay, that's really bad. So Rockfall doesn't do all that much, and we're gonna get a Quake off, probably setting up a weakness policy. I highly doubt we knock this out in one hit. Yeah, we do about half. Yeah, that prediction was pretty good. Although, I mean, Ice Beam wasn't really that crazy of a prediction, just because, I mean, these things are probably going to carry just Bolt Beam anyway. And so it's not that crazy. But if he attacks into Evire again, it's a guaranteed KO. So I believe we want to go Finny here. We've got to be very careful with these last few turns for sure. I'm assuming this thing has T-Bolt. I definitely want to max guard this turn. I don't want to take that hit. And then I believe I want to Moonblast into the T-Tar just to get a little bit of damage off. This thing has quite a bit of investment on it. And I really don't want to take the Rockfall or Quake or whatever it wants to go for. Yeah, we can take that. We're very bulky boys. And that's gonna be one more of those would actually KO it, and Max Rockfall does go into that. So, okay, so we get through that turn decently well. We're also finding that Finny really can't touch Evire, although Evire's getting a little low on HP. So what do we do here? Is sacking Evire the play and keeping Coco around? Is that the better play? Or is it switch Coco in? Because how many turns of Trick Room do we have? 2 more turns. So this +1 speed is really hurting me more than it's helping me. So I think I'm gonna have to Earthquake here in order to do damage. No, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna Wild Charge and Moonblast here. Double into the T-Tar. And T-Bolt does go into the Finny. We should survive it. Not well, but we do survive it. That's going to activate our Berry, and we should be slower than the Tyranitar. We are, and Tyranitar goes down. Okay, so we've got Tyranitar out of the way. So that's great. That's fantastic. We're gonna get a Wild Charge off on this P2. A little bit of damage. A little bit. Respectable damage. And then we pretty much have to protect Finny this turn. It's pretty much a requirement to do that. I'm actually thinking about double protecting this turn. Yeah, I think I double protect here. Incineroar comes in, which is fine. I think we'll be okay with Coco in the back. How long is Sand up? Sand has 2 more turns. I think we'll be okay. I want to double protect here though, to waste the last turn of Trick Room. Plus Fake Out from Incineroar is a thing. I don't want Finny to go down to a Thunderbolt. There's just no reason to rush this turn. I think that double protecting is definitely my play, because he probably just T-bolts into Finny and then Darkest Lariat or Flare Blitz into the Electivire, and you just take 2 hits. You just take 2 KOs. Actually, Fake Outs into that. Okay. And T-bolts. Okay, so actually doubles the Finny. Could have attacked with Electivire, but that was a little risky. That was definitely a little risky. Oof. Alright, so we are now out of Trick Room. Electivire is the fastest thing here. And so I could just get off a big hit before I go. I think we Wild Charge that and Muddy Water. We're trying to get rid of the P2 so that it can't set up the Trick Room again, and if it doesn't set up Trick Room again, then I believe we just win. I think we'll be alright if that ends up being the case. So this should be fine. I think we'll be alright. This team is really cool. I really like this. And Electivire has stuck around the entire round, which is really cool to see. Until now, obviously. But Electivire more than did its job. Electivire more than did its job on that particular one. So it's really cool that Finny was slower than the T-Tar, but it's faster than the P2 and the Incineroar. So doing a huge chunk to Incineroar and knocking out the P2, which is just what we needed. It is Berry, which is fine, but Muddy Water next time will be single target, so it's going to do a little bit more. And actually Burning Jealousy, I'm fine with that. That's doing 0. So last turn is Sand, so Sand is gone. And I believe that we've wrapped this up, because it's going to take at least 2 hits to knock out Coco, and take at least 1 hit to knock out the Finny. And I don't think you can even Oko Finny from this range with an Incineroar. So I think that this one is pretty much over. So we're just going to T-Bolt here and Muddy Water. And I believe that's going to be the game. So really cool game too, as well. Playing against a bunch of really standard things. Trick Room definitely made it really difficult. Definitely made it a lot harder than it needed to be. But we were able to work around it, and Finny was huge in that. Thinking about it, if I had brought Glastrier, Glastrier definitely could have been a really cool option, but my opponent could have gone either way. You've got the fast mode with the Dragapult, and then you've got the slow mode with the Porygon too. So really cool team, just really standard stuff. But that's where this team can shine, is this team can beat the standard stuff. And that's why I really like it. So let's go ahead and grab one more match for today. Last match of today, and that's a Runerigus. I haven't seen a Runerigus in a very, very long time, but I do remember that Runerigus did work the last time I saw it. We also see Suicune, which is pretty cool. Definitely something trying to be Tapu Fini. Really, really cool mon. And then we've got a Suncore. How good is Electivire in this one? Electivire seems pretty good here too. I mean, Evire's got really good coverage. It has something super effective for everything on the team. So I think we're just going to bring that again and just do the same thing. I swear this team can do other things. Just it being the Electivire episode, I want to show it off. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. As far as having the Trick Room option in the back, is that what we want to do? I don't think so. My opponent might set up the Trick Room. Mode on his own. But the Sun mode is a little scary for Glastrier for sure. Especially with Charizard. Charizard is really tough for Glastrier. Yeah, I think we're going to go with this, and I think this is fine. We just need to make sure that our electrics don't get taken out and then we end up losing to Suicune. That's the big thing, is that if we lose our electrics, Suicune's a big deal if we lose both of our electric types. So we definitely want to try to take some KOs early to try to cycle through Mons to take out that Suicune. So although Suicune, I mean, in all reality, Suicune probably doesn't come in this match just because you see the double electric here. But my opponent does bring the Runerigus in first. Runerigus is a little scary because it can Trick Room, as far as I remember. It's been forever since I've seen a Runerigus. I really don't remember what they do, to be honest with you. I know they're usually physically defensive. Might burn me, which could be really bad. I want a Hailstorm here to get rid of the sun. But how necessary is discharging here? I don't think that's really necessary. I want a Dazzling Gleam. Runerigus is really weak on the... No, it's not. It's just really low HP, but it has really high defenses. I could have sworn that its special defense was, like, not good, but it's still 105, which is still quite good. But either way, I mean, we're still going to get rid of the sun, which gets rid of an inherent advantage that his team really wants to have. So, you know, that's really good. It's really good as far as disrupting what my opponent wants to do. Torkoal actually protects. I'm fine with that, as long as you didn't double protect. That I'm totally good with this turn. We did not touch the Torkoal at all, so that's fine. D-Gleam here, doing a decent chunk, actually. That's decent damage. And Max Hailstorm takes out Runerigus. Nice. Okay, so that is perfect. I was expecting Trick Room. I'm pretty sure this thing gets Trick Room. I'm fairly certain it is, but we're not gonna find out because it's gone. I need to make... Am I like creating a some kind of like irrational fear in my head of this thing getting Trick Room if it doesn't? Does this thing get Trick Room? It does get Trick Room. Okay, I was like, I'm pretty sure it does. I'm pretty sure it does. So yeah, it definitely could have done that. And next actually comes in the Rillaboom. Rillaboom definitely being a threat. Definitely a threat. So if you are to Dynamax here, I'm gonna be faster, and neither of us can KO each other from this range. So I think I just go after the Rillaboom here, and again just leave the Torkoal alone. I'm gonna go for setting up the speed here. It does go for the fake out on the Coco. That's actually totally fine. I'm actually totally fine with that, because then you're gonna lose Coco too, or you're gonna lose the Rillaboom too. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the Torkoal alone because it's really not doing anything to me. And even if you like Scorching Sands or something and take out my there's the Will-O-Wisp. Okay, so this thing carried Will-O-Wisp, but I've already taken 2 KOs, so like I think we'll be fine. I mean, if you're a physical attacker, we've got Intimidate in the back. We've also got the Tapu Fini, which can check most things on the team. So yes, Will-O-Wisp is very bad for Electivire, but I think we'll be all right. We may end up switching it out, actually. I just don't want to have something that's kind of dead weight on the field. So what do you bring in last? It is the Charizard. I'm just gonna double the Charizard. We're just gonna discharge this turn and double into the Charizard. So yeah, I'm totally fine with this interaction. We did lose our terrain, so that's gonna lessen our power a little bit. But I mean, terrain did get nerfed this gen, so it's not that bad. And I would think discharge plus max lightning, even burned, that should do a good chunk. All right, it does go for max guard, which is fine. I mean, it happens. We're still gonna get our motor drive boost and some damage off on Torkoal, so I mean, it's not a wasted turn. And I mean, that's quite predictable, but like, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So it does go for the Earth Power here. Probably gonna KO it. Does KO me, that's fine. We have Landorus in the back. I'm pretty sure we have Landorus in the back. And I mean, Landorus will single-handedly win this. So I'm not concerned about this end game at all. As long as we don't miss. If we start missing, we could be in for some trouble. But yeah, Landorus in the back should clean this up for us. Really glad I did not go with Glastrier, because that could have been disastrous. But yeah, it just didn't seem like Glastrier was going to be able to deal with the Sun Core, and so I didn't think that was a good idea to bring. So yeah, I think Landorus is going to be able to clean this up pretty easily. And so we're just going to click Wild Charge into you, and Rock Slide. And we should be totally fine here, I think. We are Scarfed on Landorus as well, so we're going to be the fastest thing on the field. Look at that damage. That is great damage. All right, so this thing does eat its berry, which is fine. I think that's totally fine. And we're going to get Wild Charge off here, and it's going to be enough, even with the burn. Nice! Look at Electivire putting in the work. Doesn't even have to be Dynamax. Like, honestly, I really didn't expect Electivire to put in this much work. Like, it really did a lot of work in these games. So I'm very happy with how this turned out. Goes for Earth Power, knocks out Evire. That's fine. Electivire took 3 KOs. I'm totally fine with you knocking him out right there. He more than did his job. And yeah, so now you're up against single target Rock Slide, single target Rock Slide, and a Finny. This is not going to go well for the Torkoal. So we brought the perfect 4, and I think we played that really, really well. So GG to all of my opponents today. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of MemeGC. Again, the team code is going to be on screen right after this battle is over. I'm not gonna put it over the battle just so that you can watch the final turn here. We do see a forfeit. That's totally fine. There wasn't really anything my opponent could do there. So yeah, here is the rental code if you want to try this team out for yourself. As you can see, like, it worked really, really well. I had fun using it. Evire's pretty cool. The coverage that it offers is really, really nice, and especially with the motor drive working with the Tapu Koko is really, really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. On Wednesday, we're gonna have an awesome Wi-Fi battle, and Friday we're gonna have a very different video that we haven't done before, but I think is really, really exciting. In my opinion, it's really, really exciting, and so I want you guys to stick around. It's gonna be really, really cool what I'm gonna show you on Friday. So yeah, until next time, guys, stay safe out there. Have a good week, all that good stuff. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.